Okay. Are we live now? Because I don't know what's wrong with this. Michael, do you want to help me check if we're live? Because I can't see it on my head. I guess maybe because I'm the one controlling it. No, okay, it's
Yes, you
showing
are.
live now. Yeah, it's showing live now. S- All right. Let me just share this. Do you want to help me check if we're live? Because I can't see it on my head. I guess maybe because. Oh, okay. Uh, mm, 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 mm. It's like everybody's now getting married in every days of the week now. Like no days, there's no exception. Even Mondays now, for everybody, there's no day that there's no marriage now. Like you people should be calming down. This thing it won't last in heaven. Okay. Uh, welcome guys. It's day 4, and we are happy to be here again. So I think we're expecting like maybe 2 speakers today to join us. Uh, hopefully, we can have them on time because I think one of them is graduating today. So, um, so our topic for today is bam bam bam. Just a throwback. We've done maximizing undergraduate days, and you can check out the video. But I think we really pointed out things you should do as an undergrad. Moving forward, we spoke about things that you can do while you are maybe doing your NYSC for Nigerians, or immediately after graduating, you're just trying to position yourself for, especially for graduate school or even industry, and gaining skills that you can easily transfer, and how to also portray those skills in your CV. And just to mention that if you need CV reviews, statement of purpose reviews, and any like review of sort, you can use the email in the description to reach out to us. And then yesterday, which is day 3, we spoke about finding the right passion, and how sometimes we're actually the one keeping ourselves uh, from exploring other options that we have. So make sure you catch up on that also. And then here we are today, funding opportunities in STEM and beyond. And I think this one, I won't say, I don't know if I'll say it's a vague topic, because I do see people come to me and be like, Christian, what kind of funding can I apply for? Uh, and I'm always like, I mean, this funding is everywhere. Why is it looking far-fetched? Uh, in terms of what funding people can apply for. So I guess we'll just be taking our time here to maybe, we can't talk through everything, but at least we'd explain some of it. Uh, and even if possible, maybe even share screen on some of these scholarship website and really, really help you like hands-on how to navigate that process. So to start, I think I would focus more on. So let's say you just graduated and you don't have money to maybe help yourself to either write GRE, pay for application fee, and some other uh, application process that requires money, service fee, and stuff like that. There are organizations in Nigeria that fund, or let me say, there are organizations that fund, and this is not, I don't think it's specific to Nigeria, that fund those processes for students or graduates, in quote, and you can leverage on those to get yourself started. And one of them is Education USA. So let me see if I can show us. So Education USA is actually part of the US consulate, and is an initiative by the US consulate to help graduate students from other countries come to the US. And it's a really, really effective organization, I would say, because they've really been doing good work, especially in Nigeria, and I think India also. I think those are like at least to the best of my knowledge, those are the two I know very well. That works, that have been, or let me say, I've been part of their groups in code, and they really, really make. If you get their scholarship, in this, I don't know if I'll call it a scholarship, but they call it funds. If you get their fund, it really, really help. They help you with your visa processing. They help you with reviewing your applications. They have mentors you can reach out to, and would actually check to see when the application opens and closes. I think they are done for this year. I'm not sure now, but I think they are done for this year, so that in case you are looking to apply, you can apply towards next year. So just give me a minute here, guys. We are still putting this everywhere, so do well to share with your friends, share with your family, people you know would need this information. Please share with them. So yeah, talking about Education USA. So I'm just going to try and Education USA Nigeria. So also, because it's part of the consulate, each country have their own. So if you want to look for it, you have to maybe search for Education USA Nigeria. And then in Nigeria, there are two US consulates, one in Lagos and one in Abuja. So they also run their programs separately, but it's still under the same body. So we're just going to maybe do Education USA Lagos. And actually, they even have opportunities for undergrads. So it's not just like graduate student opportunity. So you can see, I mean, if you read about them here, they help you through the visa process. You get their funding. So they call it the financial aid program. And I think, let me see. Trying to look for their OFP something something. I think that's what they call it. Opportunity Fund. Okay. Yeah, I really want to make this answer so that in case anybody goes back to this video, you can easily, like, maybe we'll probably put those links in the description, or you can, I mean, see them from the video and then go check them out yourself. So just give me a minute. Let me really find this OFP funding that Education USA runs. Education USA Nigeria. market. So it looks like it has a separate website. Yeah, and I mean, you can see some of their beneficiaries on their website. So this is a really, really good program. Let me click on apply, and if you see the apply, so portal opens 24/03/15 and then closes 24/03/31. So I guess it's closed for undergraduate. So you can see they have the undergraduates, and then for graduate, you can also see that it's closed already. So I guess next year it will probably open around the same window. And what they require is actually very simple. A copy of your university transcript, which was something we had mentioned earlier, that you want to make sure you get your transcripts from your university when you graduate. A copy of statement of result and degrees. So you want to also make sure you get your certificate, statement of result, whatever your school can offer at that time. And also a detailed academic curriculum. I think this is very important. You want to show that you are a very, very good student. I think this program, even though that's not the major priority for them, but they prioritize good CGPA, and a lot of volunteering activities. So you really want to show that academically you're sound, and when it comes to leadership skills, you're also very good. Then if you have other certificates that shows your achievement, in this part, sincerely, I tend to avoid certificates like, maybe you're giving the most popular in your school. I don't think those certificates contribute directly to you getting this kind of application. So you really want to put in certificates that show maybe you're the best in this particular subject, you got this kind of award. I think those are the kind of awards you want to show. And then this is like a plus. It's not a requirement. That's why you see it's recommended. And I think they started doing that because part of one of the advantage if you're coming to the US is you have a GRE. So having that GRE result already, it's a big boost for you. So that's why I think they added that. So I would advise anyone that is really, really interested in the US, please check out opportunityfundsnigeria.org, and it's under the Education USA. And you can even check their scholars. Some of these people, I'm very, very, I know them. Let me see a couple. I know Akinola Emmanuel. I think he's a Futarian, so I'm sure I've met him before. I know Abigail. Abigail is currently in, I think, Michigan. So these are people I've interacted with a lot, and maybe hopefully would create another section to just specifically talk about Education USA. Yeah, I'm sure I would find a lot of my colleagues and friends here. And one of our speakers, I think I'd mentioned earlier, you would also find him here, Lawal Saeed. He is also an Education USA scholar. So I say that to say that if you need help also applying for Education USA, we can be of help in terms of reviewing, because I think they have 2 essays you have to write. And you see, they pick a lot of people, so the best thing you can do for yourself is to make sure you apply, because you really, really, you can get into it. I already showed us the requirement. It's not a tedious application. It's not a tedious application to put together. It's really, really easy to put together. I also know Victor. I think Victor studied mathematics. So yeah, please do well. I know Timothy. Timothy is currently in my school also. So these are people, like I said, I've been able to meet a lot of them over across the years, even though we probably didn't know each other from Nigeria. I'm sure most of us, if you've listened to us a couple of times, and I think we should have him today, Bola also is an Education USA scholar. I think he mentioned it earlier, so you can see him there. So please do well to apply. And like I said, if you need help applying, kindly reach out through the email in the description, and we'll be happy to help you. All right. So I think that's number one. Opportunity funds. Please check them out, and you can read more about them. You can, and this is something that it's one of the goals of the United States to bring in qualified scholars from other countries to the US. So take advantage of this and make sure you apply. So you can see the program outline is there when it opens, and it closes. It opens during the month of April. Interview, then the program starts. They help you apply, and then you travel. The requirement is very easy. Like I've said it, like it's a very simple requirement right now. And oh, I actually just noticed. So the person you're seeing here is actually Ogasho, which was one of our speakers. That I think we should have him today later on, and then earlier in the program, I think day 2 he was also around. So I think he was 2020 or so. I can't remember now. So yeah, that's it. So please, if you have any question, if you're listening to us, if you have any question, please put them in the chat box. We really try to be answering today, talking about the different scholarship opportunities. And the one we've currently gone through is the Education USA OFP program, OFP, which is the Opportunity Funds Program. And then the other one that I'm familiar with is it's called ISI. So let me just find their website. All right. So this is called Scholar Initiative, and it's a really good platform also that you can apply to, especially if you're just getting out of undergrad and you really need mentorship, you really need funding to start the application process, and you don't have that funding. Education USA is a good place. ISI is a good place to start. So if you look at the ISI website, like I said, who can apply. So we can go through their frequently asked question. Can you see this is bachelor's degree with a minimum of second class upper? So it's a fairly easy criteria for people to meet up with. And then you can go through this frequently asked question. So, and let's just go through application requirement. I think that's something we can go through. So, I mean, are you a Nigerian graduate, self-driven, you want to study in the US? So ISI is also very focused on the US also. If you really want to study in the US and you want to pay for your GRE, GMAT, TOEFL, that's what they really do. And I think in the case of ISI, they fund your GRE first, and then based on your score, then they fund the TOEFL. So for them to fund, like, you have to get a minimum of 310 for them to be able to fund your TOEFL. And then if you're doing a GMAT, you have to get 720 for them to be able to fund your TOEFL exam. So, and then when you get those two, then they now pay for your application fee, which I think is also determined. They give you like a cap of how much you can spend on application fee, which is still good. If you're getting like $200 for free to spend on your application fee, sincerely, that's a lot of money right now, considering Nigeria's economy. So please take advantage of these opportunities and apply. So they also have deadlines for when you should write the exam. And I mean, look at the requirement: a personal statement, an examination study plan, your reference letter, transcripts, CV, and then certificate or statement of result. I've said it, those 3 things, I think you should have them on standby if you really want to like further your studies. Your transcript, your CV, and your certificate. You must just have them on standby. And even your recommenders, I think you should have them on standby. There should be people that you've built close relationship with that can recommend you on a go. You don't want a situation where you have very tight deadlines to submit recommendation and then you are stuck on it. Also, make sure you take don't put your recommenders in tight position where maybe your recommendation is due in like 2 days and then you're just telling them. That's a really, really bad thing to do, in my opinion. So please give them enough time to be able to write a good recommendation for you. Uh, so the value of this scholarship is payment of your standardized exam, payment of graduate school fee application, mentorship, and then also network. Uh, and you can reach out to them. Let me see when this opens. Let's see. Apply. Let me click on apply. I want to know when it opens. Okay, I think the website is down for now, but I'm sure they should put it somewhere. Yeah, I think I know they don't open all year round, so I think they have a very short window too of opening, and I think it's actually in the beginning of the year. So please do check them out. I'm sure they'll probably fix the website as soon as possible. And okay, looks like they're still need a lot of work on the website. But you can always just shoot them an email, I think, or subscribe to their newsletter. I think that would be a good one. Uh, and yeah, I think this is the person that started the ISI initiative, and it has really gone big. I think they get a lot of donations from outside the country, uh, and you can see how much they've awarded so far. This is a bit more competitive because obviously a lot of people are now applying, but and I think they've not updated this because I think they still give. I have a friend who is an ISI scholar and a mentor. Uh, so you can see the momentum is growing and it keeps growing. So please make sure, like, if you want to submit, do well to submit uh, a really, really good application. And you can see some of their, past awardees here. And you can reach out to them on LinkedIn, on Twitter, depending on whatever their details is there, just to get their mentorship. And I'm sure most of them would be happy to help in that regard. So please do well to reach out to them. Uh, so yeah, please. That one of the goals today is really, really to make sure to let people know that these funding opportunities are out there and you can take advantage of them. So please, even though you are just coming out of school, you feel like you don't have the money, you don't have, as long as you position yourself in a good place, I think I've shown you like two good websites that you can leverage on to get started. I'm trying to think of another one in my head right now. Uh, Michael, am I missing anything? I'm trying. Is there someone? One. I know there's this guy on Twitter that also give. Uh, Afterlife, we've started something similar, uh, but we've not grown big to the point of maybe funding GRE and other exams. But I think we've started from undergrads, and by giving awards to final year undergrads to help them with their projects and help them get better with the academics, basically. So, and that's something I think we would continue to do and grow, even, in coming years. But, and hopefully we get big enough as Education USA to fund people completely to come to the US. I think that's the goal. I'm trying. Oh God, there's someone I'm looking for that I know started something similar, even though it's not big yet. Uh, really, really. I'm really. Michael, are you here with me?
Yes, I'm here, but I don't know the person you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm. Okay, I remember his name. His name is Dr. Miwa. You know him now?
Omuyiwa Adejobi, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
He started. He
But
started
he's in
something
Canada.
similar. Yeah, yeah, but he's in Canada. But I know he started funding people also recently for GRE. Yeah, I think he's in Canada. Yeah, but that's what I wanted to remember. I know he started funding people for GRE and stuff like that.
I don't
Not
know there are many
Adejobi is police. That is, but his name is Miwa or something.
Ah, oh, sorry.
Adejobi is.
I listen to Nigerian news too much.
That's not the person I'm looking for.
I listen to
um,
Nigerian news too
okay,
much.
his name is Olumiwa Igbalajobi, but you're
Igbala,
still close. Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, you're
almost
still
same now,
close.
yeah.
You're still close. His name is Igbalajobi. Yeah, he actually, I mean, he's a big guy on Twitter, and I know he actually funds. He started his own scholarship thing.
I think
I'm
whoever
trying.
is looking for this kind of opportunities should try to follow people on academic Twitter, like those group
Yeah,
of
yeah,
people.
yeah,
And once you follow one person, to recommend other people in
definitely.
that same space to you. So if you follow those kind of people like Dr. Muyiwa Igbalojo, there are so many other guys, right, who are in Canada or in the US that do it on smaller scales, and then you can win their scholarships.
But
Also, LinkedIn is also a good place to be if you are looking for, these kind of opportunities. So put yourself out there, follow people, check for updates, join lives, Twitter Spaces, sorry, X Spaces, and yeah, that's
okay,
that's what I
so
think.
I think yeah, this is Dr. Miwa's page, and it's called Scholarships Cafe. Actually, I just saw it on this page. So, and I mean, they've addressed a lot of question here. Uh, if you can actually win, I think they sponsor like GRE also, or they just pay for application fee. I don't know which is which, but you can always reach out to him. I think he's a very friendly person. I assume. Someone else you can also reach out to, like Michael was saying, is Matasen, who is also a big guy on Twitter, and it happens to be one of my mentors. He also posts a lot of scholarship opportunities, and that is how you can get informed about scholarship. We're saying there's lack of awareness. Now, what we're trying to do here is create that awareness, like that is enough resources, enough information out there for you to leverage on. So for uh, guys that are interested in like the UK, Commonwealth's website would probably be somewhere you like. I think you should visit because that's like the big scholarship that I know that fund Nigerians to the UK, and I think tomorrow we'll probably have one of my friend who is a Commonwealth scholar come around. So you can actually check for their master's scholarship, how to apply, application. So one thing I've learned, I think I've been trying to do recently is it's very easy to lose track uh of time when you're in this process. So one thing I would advise is make good use of your Google Calendar. Yeah, I think that's the best thing you can use now. I would assume most people have a smartphone. And how you can do that is so when you go to like this kind of website, what you want to look for is maybe the application window. Like I'm not sure where they put it, but hopefully they put it somewhere. So this scholarship are for study which begins in September, October. So obviously if you are supposed to resume September, October, then you probably should be applying or putting your application before that time. And you can see the deadline. I think it's probably passed now, but nomination it's like December 2024. So I think Commonwealth involve a bit of nomination also from your university, so you can really, really like look into. I guess we'll do more niche based. Because I'm not too much into a UK scholarship, so I wouldn't say I know much about them. So, uh, but then you can look into eligibility. I think that's one thing I always tell people: before you waste your time applying or trying to apply for something, make sure you are eligible. If not, like, why would you even want to spend your time applying for it? So the first thing is this one. I think would qualify. I think Nigerians will probably qualify to that one. Uh, so you can then by September 2025 hold the first degree of at least second class upper or a lower second class degree or relevant or postgraduate qualification as a master's. And also see what is it. If applying for a second master's, you need to provide justification why you want to do that. You also have to show proof that you can afford to study in the UK without a scholarship. So just make sure you're positioning yourself and you qualify. Eligible countries, I'm sure Nigeria is somewhere on this list. Yeah. So you are very much welcome to apply. You can see the other countries that are here. Uh, Application form, selection criteria, academic research proposal, positive impact on development of country. So please check them out. And I'm sure the financial stance is really nice. Like I think it's a really good. You get a stipend of 1,003 per month, which I mean that's it's a really good money. They also provide they fund you from your country to the UK. So please do well to check it out. And another place to get more information is frequently asked questions. You can use that to know and know. What I was actually talking about in terms of the Google Calendar is, for example, I think we've shown the opportunity funds and the application timeline. So, for example, you already know when this application opens and closes. It's fixed. The best thing you can do is set a reminder on your calendar. Like you can do it right now and be like, okay, next year, April 1st, Education USA scholarship opens. You can even say, remind me 15 days before this date. And then you're setting April 30th, it closes. That way, you get a pop up before it opens, and then your brain consciously like prepares for it before that time. And then now you can maybe use this period to prepare all your application materials before that time. So you can really, really leverage on same thing go for ISI. If you find out when the application opens, you can always set like your calendar to say, okay, I know this thing opens so date. I want to be able to remember in case I get carried away with other things I'm busy with. So please do well to make sure that you're keeping tab with everything you want to do and your applications. So Commonwealth is a very good one for people that are interested in the UK. I'm also trying to think of I think of Mastercard. Yeah, I think Mastercard is the other one also. So we're mentioning all this funding so that we know that there's funding opportunity out there. Like these informations are out there. You need to put in the work. And we've said before, we can only do for you what you can't do for yourself. But things you can do for yourself, we will not do for you. And so you coming to this website, reading more about it, are things you can do for yourself. So don't expect us to do it for you. Uh, Subscribe to newsletters. Like, don't enough of junk emails that would come into your. There are enough of junk emails that you're receiving. Subscribe to important newsletters that you can learn from, and use that to like boost your application. You can read more about the application. I think this is like the first time I'm actually coming to their website because I don't think I've been really, really interested in it. So you can see they even have undergraduate. So for people that are still undergrad and you really want to like, let's say, leave Nigeria and maybe get like finish your degree somewhere, or I mean, you can still apply to. And sincerely, I know we are seeing some African universities, but these are really, really good universities that would probably rank, say, at par with like top universities in Nigeria. Uh, like Kwame Nkrumah University of Science is like, I think it's like probably top in Ghana. Uh, so they are really, really top universities. University of Rwanda is probably top in Africa too. And then you can see for master study, you have a lot of international universities there that you can apply to. And you can see application window is closed. But I mean, we can keep checking everything. This one is not closed yet. The registration deadline is still January 15. So you can actually go check. Cameron Mellon, really, I mean, this is a really, really top university also. Uh, it has not closed. So you can still go uh, and check them out and apply. University of California, also a top university. Uh, so please and please, these informations are out there. And if you need help applying, like I said, use the email in the description to reach out. If you have any question, please put them in the chat box and also let us know where you are joining us from. Uh, but I think we've really, really covered at least, I think, for now. Education USA, you can apply there to fund your standardized exam and your visa application if you're coming to the US. You can apply to ISI. You can apply to Scholarship Cafe. You can apply to Commonwealth. You can apply to MasterCard. And I don't want to say the list goes on and on, but I mean, if you try all these, trust me, you would at least maybe get one or two. Like it would eventually, one of them would eventually fall for you uh, as time goes on. So please, we look forward to, I mean, helping people apply uh, to this. And I think maybe Michael and I will probably share some personal experience with the application process and how we've been able to navigate that. Uh, the other thing I've actually been thinking about that I think we can also talk about. Mm. Oh, Erasmus. Yeah, that's Michael's favorite scholarship. Erasmus Mundus. I think I don't know. I actually maybe it skipped my mind. I should have tried and get one of my senior, yeah, who's an Erasmus scholar. Erasmus is a very interesting scholarship because they have like many. Is it consortium now? I think that's what they call them, right, Michael? That you can apply to, and each consortium tend to be very different in how they handle uh, and how they handle the application. Ajao is really really nice. If this is the Ajao I'm thinking about in my head, it would be really if that like it's so nice to hear from you. Thank you very much for joining in. And like I said, please, if you have any question, you can drop them. Would address the questions. So I just want to go to requirement. Like I said, your requirement. You just want to know: do I qualify for this thing, or why should I waste my time applying? So now this 180 credit, I think this was a big confusing one initially, but basically I think what that means is for you to like sum up all the credits you've taken. Uh, that's basically what it means, and it should be, I think, at least up to 180 or more. I think that's what it should be. They also require like years of experience, which tend to be a big thing for them sometimes, depending on the consortium. And then you have to provide like test of English. Oh yeah, someone reminded me. Yeah, Michael Taiwo, MT scholarship. Thank you very much. I did doing. Yeah, I think I omitted that. Uh, Official transcript. Uh, so like I've mentioned this. Your transcript, even if you can't get official transcript, like in cases because official transcript are supposed to be sent to the university directly or to like an organization directly, make sure you get your student copy. Like that's like the bare minimum. Make sure you have your student copy on standby with you. So please do that. Motivation letter, which probably is synonymous to like your personal statement, depending on what they require. And then CV, we've mentioned this over and over again. And then letter of recommendation. Like I said, don't give your recommenders time to write a good recommendation for you. And they have templates. So I think one of the peculiarity of Erasmus is they have a template for you to use for like almost everything. Even their CV, I think there's a template for the CV also. Because obviously most of the application are going to European schools, so they have a lot of like templates for things, and the funding is really good. Actually, I have a senior who did Erasmus, and now I think he's based in Italy. He just continued, like, he got a good job there, and he stayed there. You can read about your eligibility more. I don't think they have country. I don't think there's even any country limitation in terms of where you can apply to. And talking about the consortium, actually, I'm trying to look for where they have the list of consortium. It's actually a long list of, and it cut across, like, talk about any field, like any field you want to talk about. So I think the website I'm on is actually very specific already. So this is Erasmus Bundle Matters Program in Human Rights Policy and Practice. So this one is already very specific. Let me try and find the one that's like the general Erasmus website. Maybe I'll be able to find it. And then we'll probably talk about Michael Taiwo too, which, yeah, it's also a good scholarship that you can apply to. Okay, so yeah, I think this is probably the European Union, so you can really see how, I mean, all the scholarship. So it's well funded. They pay for you to come into the country. You can do your masters in, like, I think even 2 countries. So you can actually like pick 2 countries that you want to do your masters in, and they fund the whole trip from you relocating to the next country to complete your degree. So it's really fun to apply to. Actually, I really wish I could find a place where they put the list of the consortium.
Listen, so for the Erasmus scholarships, the countries are
Yeah,
dependent on the consortium.
on the consortium. Okay.
Yeah, so each consortium already has like a list of countries where because they have like an agreement with the universities. So you would see it there. So you can, depending on the language, I think many have like 2 languages. Some are in like French, others are in English. Some can be done
Mm-hmm.
in both. So you have to choose, and then you can choose the countries or the programs you want to join. So it's usually a 2-year master's program, like 2-year time span. And yeah, you can choose where you want to go and stuff. But they have a list of countries already within
Oh yeah.
the
Oh, within
European
the.
Union.
Oh yeah. So what I'm saying by countries, I think I was referring to, like, they don't have countries that can't apply. I think that's what I was referring to. I know like the consortium is already very fixed to the European Union countries, but I'm not
No,
sure they
it's
have
been a
countries that
long
can't
time.
apply.
I applied in I think 2021, but I think it's Commonwealth countries, or they have a list of countries that can apply, not all
That can
countries.
apply. But I think Nigeria is there, so I don't think
Yeah, Nigeria,
I, I don't think that's too much of a worry.
most African countries.
Yeah, I think most African countries are part of it. So please, you can check them out. I think we'll be happy to help if you're interested in going to Europe, because, like I said, it's not everybody that'll come to the US. So you can explore all the options that's available. Uh, I think we can go to Michael Taiwo now. So yeah, MT, it's a really nice one too. I think after Education USA and ISI, I would say MT is probably the one that has really gained a good reputation in Nigeria in how well they've funded people. And like I said, make use of your calendars. This is clearly stated. It opens so date, closes so date, and most of the time, most scholarship keep their application windows very consistent. So they don't just open and close any time they want in the year. They keep it very consistent. So please, you can save those dates on your calendar and then be aware of them even before it opens up against next year, if that's your plan. Or like if you're applying next year, obviously it's going to be for the next academic section. And you can see they allocate up to $1,000 per student, which is a lot of money, guys. It's a lot of money. I'm sure if you have a calculator there with you, you can punch in the conversion rates depending on any country you are in, and you know that's a lot of money. To even in the US, $1,000 is a lot of money. Like, so please and please make good use of these opportunities that are available. If you apply for MT, Education USA, ISI in the same year, and you put in a good application, sincerely, you increase your chance of getting one of these, and that would save you. Imagine you saving $1,000 from the cost of everything you have to spend for grad school application, or imagine you getting Erasmus that would even fund everything from, and even in cases like Erasmus, you don't even have to do any exam or anything. You just need to put in a good application. So please and please do well to just, I mean, submit to just submit your application. That's really the goal. Yeah, like sincerely, that's really the goal. I think Michael Taiwo has really gained a lot of recognition over the years, and I think he's also gaining a lot of funding from outside the country and even within the country too. So, Michael, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say for Erasmus, it's listed on like the requirement, but for some, you need to take the English proficiency test. For
Oh,
some,
okay.
not all. For some, you need to
Yeah.
take. So,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
listed as part of the requirements. If Nigeria is one of the countries,
You need to take
it
the
will list,
English
you will see
test.
it there. But for many of them, you only have to maybe submit a proof that your
Yeah, yeah,
undergraduate
yeah.
degree was in English, or that you have a proof that you
Oh, yeah.
you did
So,
an exam in English or something.
yeah. So, guys, I know maybe some of us are graduates, some of our undergrad, or you're recent graduates, or you're already in grad school, but there's something you can actually get from your school in what referring to what Mike is talking about, which is called the letter of English proficiency. So, in cases where you don't want to write an English text or an English exam, you can actually write to your university senate requesting for a letter of English proficiency. And what that does is for your university to certify the fact that all your exams were taken in English and all your like courses were taken in English. And that proves that you've studied in an academic environment with English for over like what 4 or 5 years, depending on how long your course was, and that gives you an edge in your application where you don't necessarily have to maybe do an IELTS or TOEFL to prove that you can speak English. So yeah, I think that would cover for what Michael was saying. That if you're from Nigeria, they can still ask for proof, and some of those proof might involve maybe you submitting your WAEC results. Actually, I think it's still valid to submit like your WAEC result to show you did English and the WAEC result that you passed in English, please. I don't know why that is funny, but please, the WAEC result, make sure you pass in English. And then you could get the letter of English proficiency, which I think is probably the best option if you're already a graduate from a university. So yeah, please questions. We'll take questions. I really want us to take questions. I know a lot of people will probably enter my inbox say, "Hey, Christian, we don't understand this. This is complex," or But we've really, really gone through a lot of scholarships here and take advantage of it. I think that's what I would say. Take advantage of it. Uh, I don't think I knew a lot of these were available initially when I probably started out. So it was good to maybe talk about it now with people. Okay, so I think I'll just maybe go to more of gisting with Michael now because I've been doing all the talking today. Uh, I guess it's nice actually because most of the days I don't get to do all the talking. Most of my speakers talk, so I think it's good for me to finally do one session. Michael, so I guess it's the part where we talk about the struggles we probably went through in applying uh, to grad school, and I think for me, one of the big I say one of the big problem was just I think was writing. I was never really good with writing essays. So when it comes to like I remember when I was applying for and I think that was one of the reasons I didn't want to apply for Chevening. How did we miss Chevening? We didn't even talk about Chevening. Chevening is a really good scholarship too. I think let's address Chevening. Probably you really want to talk about it. Because me, I never applied for Chevening. let
Evening
me let
is
me let me go to their website.
Machine is a very competitive scholarship. Anyway, if you are
Very,
not,
very competitive.
and many of the scholarships kind of look for a particular kind of students. So that's something that you need to understand too. So Shivni is a different scholarship from Erasmus. So if you're applying for both, the, the part of it that you'll be pushing forward in both scholarships will be different because
True.
Shivni is kind of a developmental scholarship, like to
Mm-hmm.
develop young stars from African countries and sponsor them in a top masters in the UK. Or is it yes, just in the UK. Shivni is the UK. Erasmus is the European Union, meaning other countries in Europe. Now that UK is out of the European Union, but Shivni is the UK. So you gain admission, they sponsor you and you give you stipends, and then you have to come back to Nigeria for at least 2 years, or your home country for at least 2 years, uh, to come and do what you wrote in your essay that you will do.
Well, I don't think it's a strict criteria actually. I don't think so
It's
because
strict.
I
It's
I
strict,
spoke
but
to a friend
many
of
people
mine.
don't. There's a
Yeah,
way out. So when you leave a window for Nigerians, of course, they don't want to come back. Some don't want to come back. Some, I know a shifting scholar that came back to Nigeria
yeah. But I know one that he came back, but then he only like used a very short time and
or
then
that
just
went back.
went and
Oh
then
yeah,
went
yeah. They
back.
find their way out
Yeah.
eventually. Well, yeah. Some
Because
don't
I know
even.
someone had
Some
reached
don't.
out to me like, if I apply for chef, now am I going to be stuck? Like, is it a must for me to come back to Nigeria? And I was
Yeah,
like,
there's a way out. There's
I
a way
think
out.
you have
Officially,
to.
like you can apply to, stay and continue maybe your PhD or something. If I think this thing is the requirement is if it's relevant or that if it will advance what you plan to do when you get back home. But you are encouraged to go back home, right? So Shivni has three essays. Is it three or four? Now forget. I think
Yeah.
three essays. So three different essays, networking, and two others. So you write the essays, and that's like the major thing, your essays, right? So the shortlist, a lot of people apply for Shivning, and then you go for the second stage, which is the interview stage, and then they end up choosing a few people out of thousands of people that apply. So yeah, that's
Oh
how it
yeah.
works.
I think it's a really tough one, and I think that's also one of the reasons I didn't apply.
But
First,
the thing with Shivning is you don't have to be a book smart student. It's
mhm.
good if you have if you have good results, but you don't have to. So if what you have is your experience, you can put that forward. As long as once they see that you are good with what you do and what you do can bring development to your community, that's what they look out for. Unlike some other scholarships that want you to be smart.
Book smart. Yeah. Sincerely, if you're listening to us right now and you are involved in all these SDGs, all the any G you can add to it, go and apply for Chevening. I'm serious. My friend that got into it, the guy works on ESG, which is basically the SDG but for industries. So basically, making industries have sustainable goals. That was like his role, and that was what he was applying for. And this guy background was actually in biochemistry. But then his career had changed. He was already doing other things, and he wanted to do a master's in that field, and he got in. Like, and he's not even a first class student. Like, so he was not like was like super.
Many
He was
chimney
smart,
scholars
but
graduated with
yeah,
2.2,
yeah.
2.1. They don't have
So
to be good first class.
we are saying that to say if you have a lot of volunteering experience, you've been involved in a lot of SDGs. Trust me, Chevney is calling upon you. Go and apply.
You need to
Just
also be able to convincingly
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely.
write a convincing essay that shows
I,
that you are good at whatever you're doing and that you have goals. You are also able to manage to be a good team player, network with people. So yeah, I think since you are projecting this, you can show them the essays, the
oh
list
yeah.
of essays that
Okay.
are needed. So you have to write good essays because that's the first thing. Then recommendation. I think recommendation even comes later. So the
Let me
essays are
see.
first.
Yeah, I think the essay they're like three or four.
And the person I know, she also studied microbiology, but got during NYC got into girls, maternal and girls, all
Yeah,
these teenagers health and things like
I think
that.
that's what they are looking
She,
for.
she produces environmental friendly pads and like pad for girls, and she goes to all these NGOs. So they buy from her, and then that's sort of what she does, and she got into it.
Okay, I think it's closed, but there's no way. I'm trying to look for that essay. I
Yeah, it should
can't
be
find
closed.
it.
It should be closed right now.
Okay, so we can
This
actually
December,
view the application timeline. So it opens in August and closes in November. So
October,
please,
of November.
we've said it earlier, please, these are things you can save up from now, preparing against next year. It's closed now, but at least you know now, and then you can prepare against next year and
In
use
fact, for
that.
shifting, you should start writing your essays,
Yeah,
now and keep
like
reviewing and
literally.
reviewing and reviewing. Because essays are very important to those guys. Because they don't
Like,
know you, but they can know you through your essay and CV. So
and they're
it's
not
important that you have a
just
good essay.
these essays are very different from like your SOPs. Like they're
Oh yeah,
not,
sure.
yeah,
Shielding
they're
essays
not.
are different from for grad school application. That's also into two like looking for an advisor stroke applying to the department. But for this kind of scholarship, for shielding specifically, they are looking for something, and that's what is important when you're applying for funding or for opportunities. Know what they want, and then you can present yourself as a fit to that program. But if you don't understand that these guys want something different, look at Mastercard, for example.
Hmm.
Mastercard is a little bit different from Erasmus, and Erasmus is different from Shivling. So you
Yeah,
must be able to pitch yourself to them as a fit that, oh, I'm a good student and I'm in that. Mastercard doesn't fund people that have money. If you show that you went to a private school,
same
your
thing.
parents are big, they most likely choose someone who who is from a more
Yeah,
challenging background.
yeah,
Understand? So
same thing with Education USA. I've actually heard of something in Education USA that happened, and I want to believe the story is true. That it was a physical interview. So they had seen the lady's application. And then she had made the interview stage of Education USA. And then she came for the interview and she was wearing a bone straight. And the same bone straight she was wearing was the same bone straight as the head of the Education USA funding, basically. So the woman was like, for this lady to be able to afford what I'm using, then she's okay enough to sponsor herself for graduate school education.
maybe not, but you can pay for GR. You should be able to pay for
Yeah,
GR.
like you should be
You
able
can
to pay for
afford those
Jerry
streams.
if you can afford both straight. And that was the main reason why she didn't get it. Because the men they saw her look, they were like, okay, I think this person. Now that doesn't mean you should dress anyhow to go for the interviews. But then understand, we're saying this to say, understand the purpose of the funding, and then you can use that to align yourself into getting that funding. So, for
There's
example,
an
if you have,
intent. They have
yeah,
purpose. There's an intent. So
you cannot be applying to Erasmus and you're talking about volunteering. Like they don't care. Like that you're doing SDGs. Erasmus don't care that much. They want you to be book smart alongside that. So
yeah, alongside that.
you have to balance it. But if you apply
Also,
to
ESSO
somewhere
also
like,
has quota. Sorry, Christian. ESSO also have
yeah,
quota for each country. So if
oh
there are
yeah, yeah,
so many people from your country for a particular program, you might be a good student, but maybe you have a few people better than you. Maybe they have like two slots for your country. You are number three. You might not get in. So they'll put you on the waiting list.
wait list, yeah.
If any of those two rejects, then you can come in. So all of this, all those European scholarships have they have their
Limited
ways. Like,
slots.
so you need to understand how the system works. Though there are a lot of videos online for Erasmus, for
The
Shivning,
the
for
one I
Mastercard,
the one I even remember just now, it's Rhodes scholarship also.
road
It's just that
road is
Rhodes is
also road is a
Rhodes is for the
competitive.
best
It's
of
a
the
nice
best.
competitive scholarship.
I think Rhodes is the one that I would say encompasses everything. It's like you have to be book smart and you have to be like doing voluntary work at like the apex, because I think the CGPA you must have at least 4.7 on a
Yeah, I think
5.0
road
scale
road is
for you to apply.
way
Yeah,
more
like
competitive, and they
it's
only
for
choose
the
like one person or two people
in
from
the
like a whole country or
yeah,
something.
you know when they say yeah, the first class of first class, that's what Rhodes.
Yeah, yeah. Road they don't just choose anybody.
Yeah, like
But
I'm
there are so many other scholarships that there are all these Chinese island. There are so many
oh yeah, yeah,
resources
yeah.
out there, and there are so many people.
There
You
was one
know,
Chinese one that I even applied to one time that's really
in all
good.
of these
Is
places.
this? Oh yeah, it's called MEXT. It's a Japanese scholarship from the Japan. And sincerely, for people that don't know, Asia pays crazy. I don't know how they get the money, but they are funding. Obviously, if you convert it to dollars, it might not commensurate, but in their own economy, you'll be living well. Like they pay crazy. Like when you're collecting like maybe 100 million won, the way they call their money, it's so funny. But they pay a lot of money too in most Asian countries if you're able to get their scholarship. I'm really trying to look for where this Chevening essay is, but I can't find it, Michael. I guess would I mean I'm sure people can go to the page to really really learn more about it. Please, we've really gone through a lot of scholarships today, and it's my hope that we would take advantage. And like I said, one of the major things you can actually do is really to put the scholarship up on your timeline and on your calendar and be ready to like start preparing yourself to apply for some of the scholarship by next year. If let's say most of them that's closed. So let me see. Let's see.
Should I go ahead with the list? So Shivling, ooh, can you hear me, Christian?
With the list of essays.
Yes.
Oh, I think I just typed it into their chat box. It already gave it to me. Leadership and influence, networking, studying in the UK and career plan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw that they had a chat box, so I was like, okay, let me just use that. So he actually just listed it
So
here.
did you also outline, things that are needed? But these things, honestly, these things, if you know about it there is enough samples and
Online, yeah.
information online for you to be able to do a good job. The only thing is they are very competitive. So
Put in
you
your
have to
best
apply
foot.
to, not yeah, put your best foot and also apply to so many other scholarships, right? So you can't just apply if you really want to study abroad. You can't apply to Shibnin and rest on your words that you need to do more because there are also 14,000 others who
They're
applied.
applying.
So, but yes, you should apply.
I think the year my friend got in, which was 2022, the first round of disqualification from Chevron alone was like 15,000. Like just the first round. Like Chevron is on another level. But for those of us, people like me that never applied to any scholarship, that we were just looking for graduate research assistantship, straight without stressing ourselves. I think, like
It's
I said,
also that also has its own,
yeah, yeah, that's also has its own
ways,
ways, and I
but
think maybe
it's not as
that's where we would
competitive
end.
as like you're not in the same pool with the whole world, like
Yeah, yeah,
Shivlin,
yeah.
Erasmus. Yeah, yeah. So in this
So
case, yeah. choose your.
I think that's where we'll probably end the discussion. So for in my own case, now for applying to graduate, I mean for graduate assistantship, one thing I always like to tell people is graduate assistantship is not scholarship. It's not a scholarship. In most scholarship, as we've shown here, the scholarships tend to fund your traveling. Graduate assistantship is like a job. You are like a student and a staff for the university, so they don't fund your traveling to come and start the work. You are supposed to get yourself there and start the work. So if you're looking for opportunity that will fund you, then you probably have to go for scholarships, which is different from a graduate assistantship. Now, for graduate assistantship, there are like three major graduate assistantship. You have the graduate research assistantship, you have the graduate teaching assistantship, and then you have the graduate administrative assistantship. Their name explains it. Administrative assistantship means you'll probably be working as an administrative staff for the university while you are a student. Teaching assistant means you're teaching while you're a student, and then research means you're doing research while you're a student. Uh, and depending on which one you are doing, it would also affect your funding style also. So you can be funded for 12 months, which is all year round, or you could be funded for 9 months, which would be your fall and your spring without the summer. So in the summer, you probably have to get a job. And as an international student, you're restricted to, I don't want to be wrong here, I think it's 20 hours per week. Am I right, Michael? I think it's 20.
Yes, 20 hours.
Yeah, 20 hours of work per week. So these are things you want to consider when you're considering funding, like funding that is available for you in a school or in a university that you're applying to. Uh, Now, how do you get this? Because we're talking about STEM. In most STEM courses, what you would actually get is a graduate research assistantship or a teaching assistantship. In most STEM courses, I'm not saying there's no exception, but in most STEMs, those are the two major ones you will get. If you are doing core STEM courses like biology, biochemistry, physics, uh, courses that tend to have a lot of funding for research, you will most likely be on an RA, which is what people call RA, which is research assistantship. If you are into courses that's like more theoretical, so let's say theoretical physics, mathematics, uh, uh, courses that are underlying, maybe engineer, even some part of engineering, you might be more involved into teaching assistantship where you probably have undergrads that are taking your courses, computer science that you would have to teach. And then when we now say STEM and beyond, so if you're in like humanities, arts, let's say you're doing your PhD in communications, in history, in accounting, most of those courses they would either put you on an administrative assistantship if they are going to fund you, or they put you on a teaching assistantship. So those are like the two major funding that is available for uh, most courses that are non-STEM, which is like history, communications, and stuff like that.
Have you seen accounting funding before?
Yeah,
Well, I've never seen,
but obviously it's not
never
called
seen
accounting. Like the program is not accounting, but it's
accounting.
still related to like
So an
finance,
accountant
whatever.
can apply,
That
but
yeah,
it's
an
not called.
accountant can apply, but it's not called accounting. Like I have a friend of mine, she's actually graduating tomorrow, and she's doing information systems and data something something, which is basically like an accountant job, but not called accountant.
System.
Yeah, so there's a way they name the course. It's a very funny name, but basically
Uh,
what they do is like they analyze the financial markets, they like do all those data analysis and on the back end of like stocks and stuff.
I don't
And
think
actually,
economics
yeah,
is
economics.
like it's a form of
Yeah,
science that can be funded, kind of,
yeah,
because they do a lot
economic.
of
Even
research.
yeah, even economics. The most of the economics artists that I've seen also they're also on administrative assistantship because they don't get as much funding as biology or like life sciences. They don't get as much funding. So if that's what you're looking at, make sure you're talking about this funding with your university, like at that time that you're applying that, or if you're talking to a professor. Now that I mentioned all the different type of funding that you can get, let's talk about how you can get it. Uh, One of the major way you can get funding is reaching out to a professor. So, and how do you get the professor to reach out to? I guess one of the good things you can do is be learned about the field you want to go into. Stay up to date with the research that is happening in that field. When you read, you tend to know the trend of the field, and then you know people that are really doing the work you're interested in, and then you can reach out to them. Now, the best form of cold emails that I've sent were not cold emails that involve, "Hi, my name is so so so. I'm from so so so. This is my CV attached below." This nah. Most of those time, trust me, those emails bore people, and they don't have the time. You want to talk about them, don't talk about yourself. That's one thing I think I've learned since I came to grad school, that if you really want to engage someone in a conversation, talk about them, not about yourself. So it would be you asking them about their research. Scientists like to talk about their research. Scientists like to talk about the project they're working on. So you want to make sure you're putting up you asking your you are showing curiosity. That's also one of the traits that shows that you can be a good scientist or you can be a good researcher. That you're showing curiosity about that field. So you are asking the person that, hey, I saw this in your latest publication. Can you explain more about this? What kind of method were you using to get this? But don't you think you can do it this way? You just want to like ask intelligent questions. And that can really get you through the door faster than you maybe saying, no, this is my CV and my transcript attached below. Those methods I don't think work again. That's one. The other method is you applying to schools that don't even require you to reach out to any professor, which is what I wanted. I wished I make sure the schools I applied to were not schools that required me to reach out to professors. And one of the major reasons why I wanted that is because I wanted to give myself the opportunity to explore multiple options before settling. Now, in the case where you've reached out to a particular professor and they are willing to take you, that you're kind of stuck with that person because that person is probably the one bringing you in and will be able to get you through the admissions committee. However, in the case where you're applying to a school that just say, hey, apply, we'll review everybody and then we'll pick. In that case, you're not stuck with anybody. They pick you, you know you're coming in. They give you room to do what we call lab rotations or just a rotation through multiple PIs research. And then you can say, oh, I think I like to work with this PI better, or I think I like this research and I want to settle for this. That's how you then decide, which is something I wanted. And I know after you deciding, then they can now put you on whatever funding style they have available. But those are like the two major steps available. In my case, I got what I wanted. I was able to come to a university that had an epigenetic research group, which was something I was interested in. I did my rotation across three lab in the group, and I decided I settled for one. So that's my experience, and I tend to advise people to be careful before they get stuck with a particular PI, and then they can't leave the person. Also, just making sure you pick the right PI. So, Michael, maybe you just share your own experience briefly, and please, before I go, if you have questions, please ask. We can address them, and then we'll wrap up today.
My experience, applying to grad school, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I graduated in 2019, served in 2020, and yeah, from 2020 to 2021, thereabout, I started, gaining more knowledge, although I had the knowledge of scholarships and fundings from the university through our professors and friends. But and also Futurians who have, graduated and are on all of these different funding. And FUTA students are known for that. You know, they are always everywhere, nailing it. So I knew a lot about Erasmus. So I wanted to get into Erasmus. And I loved Europe, like the UK. I wanted to explore the UK and explore Europe and stuff. So I applied to Chevening, I applied to Erasmus in 2021. But I didn't get into any of this program. Right. Then I I reverted, back.
You changed course. You changed
So
course.
uh so then I faced, the US, which is what Christian just explained. First I went into scholarships and stuff, but um in 2022 I applied to kind of get funded, by programs in the US. So first what I did was I just started looking for schools. that had my interest. So I was interested in developmental programming of cardiovascular diseases, or research around cardiovascular disease and physiology generally, which was what I had a background in. So how was I doing that? Or how can you do that? Papers, just that topic that you think you have experience in and that you have, vast experience or that you love so much. Just type it on Google Scholar. It will bring up papers or professors who are working on it. Look at the recent publications in that area and look at the publishers, not the publishers, look at the authors, right? Look at the authors. And for me, that was what that was how I got into, that was how I found, a professor who sort of told me, but I'll get into that story. So you can do it that way. Another way is, like we said in some minutes ago, that you should follow people who are into the academia on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Many times they announce positions. Oh, I need a postdoc in my lab. I need
Mm-hmm.
a PhD. I need a couple of PhD students. I need masters, students. You see all these positions. And I have friends who have gotten in through that way, gotten to the US that way. So they saw posters announcing that some like a professor needs a PhD student in this area. You can apply and then be able to get a spot for interview and you can get in that way if the professor likes you. So that is, that's the same thing. That's similar to sending cold emails, right? So, but if you want to send cold emails on your own, you can either maybe, like I said, looking for authors of publications in your area and then shoot them cold emails. Oh, I read this paper, this really intrigued. I felt really intrigued by this part of your research. This is my experience, and I would like to be a graduate student in your lab. That's not exactly how you write it, but that's the big picture. That's the big picture, right? So yeah, and if the professor has a position or like if a space in as funding, that's the major thing, as funding. Person would let you know, okay, why not, let's have a Zoom call. And yeah, you can get in that way.
Wait,
Uh
actually, I think to add to that, one of the fun part of that kind of funding is the fact that you can actually resume anytime in the year. I had friends that came
that
in.
spring or
Yeah,
fall.
they came in like spring, fall, because even when application window are closed, because they already like built the personal connection with that person, and the person say, "Oh, you know what? I want you. Don't worry about that. Just send in an application. They would accept it because I already want you." And this person is resuming even when application window had closed and everything had like ended. She was still able to resume, get into the country, and you can do it even from Nigeria. Like you just need to put a good like application and
Most people do it from Nigeria
yeah,
now.
I think people always say like it's not something that is it's not a
The only
magic thing.
disadvantage to that, like you said, is you are stuck with that professor
Yeah.
because you were brought
Correctly.
in on that professor's funding,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the other way around, which is so for me, how I got into the school that I'm in now was like a combination of both. So I read a paper, found a professor. I mean, I was interested in that paper. It wasn't even the latest paper. I later realized that the professor had moved on from that research, moved into let me not talk about it, into gay, into moving into some contemporary research, right? So I read a paper. I told you earlier that I was interested in developmental programming. Paper was titled Developmental Programming of Hypertension. It was in 2008, and this was 2022, around June 2022. So I shot the professor an email. Oh, cold email. Oh, I'm interested in your research, and but in that school they do not accept students through professors. So you have to join the application pool. You have to apply to the department through the graduate school, right? Everybody, they have a date, you apply through the graduate school, or they have a window, application window, you apply through the graduate school, which is the other way, right? So one is sending cold emails to professors who can take in students themselves, although you still have to apply, but they have the power to take in students that they want, but you are
Yeah.
stuck to their because they will take you in on their funding. The other one is you come in through the graduate school, right? And that's something, and that's what Christian and I did.
You
But you
eventually
can
did,
do
yeah.
both. Like you can look for professors send code emails because you don't know which one would
Which
work,
one would, yeah.
right?
I always
Yeah, so
advise
you
people to
should
do both.
do both. Then, but there are schools that you just apply. You don't need to email any professor, and many a times they write it on their website. You see that oh, you need a professor. You need to a
Mm-hmm.
professor to you need an acceptance from a professor, and some other school they'll tell you just apply to the graduate school. And this is application opens at so date, closes at so date. And if you are confused, you can send the graduate coordinator an email. You can always send emails, they respond.
Oh,
And if they
yeah.
don't, send a reminder because they are busy people,
Very
right?
busy
So
people.
the professor just recommended, just said, okay, I've attached the email, I've copied Gary coordinator in this email. Try to if you have any questions, shoot him an email. But we don't take students personally. You should apply through the grad school, and we'll be willing to review your application. And yeah, so I applied during fall, which is like the general acceptance period. And I went through the application process, two interviews, and then I got in eventually. So yeah, so I found a professor. I found the school by reading a paper. So
Mm-hmm.
I was interested in the paper. I looked at the name of the professor, searched on Google, and I found, oh, she's in this department. And I saw that, oh, department is, like one of the, highest rated departments for physiology in the US. I'm like, oh, I'd love to be here. And I sent emails to them, thinking the professor would, be able to
Accept you, yeah.
accept me. But she said, no, you need to apply. And I went to apply.
Yeah, so I think that's important that you can actually
But
combine
that was
both
not the only school I
methods.
applied to. I applied to many other
but
schools.
but then
Well, you only need one admission.
yeah, you only need one yes. That's all I say. Uh but what I was even going to say is, you know that you reaching out also kind of puts you in a good position. Because if, for example, that professor I know really took interest in your application, and then it was probably one of the major factor in saying, now you've met the criteria, but then there's also someone like advocating to say, I think this guy is a good fit for our program. We should
Yeah, that
allow.
works. It's nice
Yeah,
if you have someone that already knows your intent
yeah.
on the application on the committee on the what's it called, admission committee.
I know you had this show
On the
committee, yeah.
selection committee, yeah, that's the right word. On the selection committee. So my first interview was with two professors who are the guys who are like graduate coordinators, something like that. That's like that was like the first stage to know that you won't have sense at all. So there was no serious questions, but just a conversation to know that okay, this person, you can
I,
speak to the big guys. So they were like assistant professors at the time. Now they're associate professors. So there's a first stage of the interview, and then you pass into the second stage. So this first stage was around this time. Yeah, around this
oh
time
really?
in 20, yeah, it was around this time.
Yeah.
Then the second stage was in January after the O's. It was around January 14th or something. Then I met with the admission committee, a team of six professors. So those ones now asked the real questions, including the Professor Barbara, the person I emailed,
Initially.
at the time. And I would say try to keep your if you're applying for a PhD, you have to be specific about your research, right?
Mm-hmm.
Many schools advise that you state what your interest is, but don't be too rigid because from my experience, the professor I told you I was trying to get into her lab that I sent emails to, and she told me I should apply and I should be willing to review my application. I thought she was working on developmental programming. One, I didn't know that she already moved into research on steroids, right? On what's it called? Sex conversion, what's it called? This surgery. The sex
Transitioning.
conversion, transgender and stuff. Yeah. So she has moved into that kind of research, hormonal and stuff. That's one. Two, she was going to retire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was after I got admitted that I realized I couldn't even join her lab because she was
Going
about
to
to
retire,
retire, so
yeah.
she wasn't taking students, right? So don't be too, oh, I'm so interested in this professor. That's if you're applying through the graduate school or on a general application platform. If you're
Yeah.
applying to a professor, you have to show that you are interested in the professor. That's if you are
Yeah.
going through the cold email,
I,
but if
I
you
think
are
for me too,
applying on the
I
general
had similar
application
experience.
platform, you have to, you have to be specific in your research interests, kind of, because it's a PhD. You can't say, oh, I love computer science. And that is it. Computer science is a world. It's a world. So you
Do you
have
know
to,
how, do you know how vague that sounds when you say I love?
exactly.
It's
So you
like
can't
someone
be
saying
vague
I
as a
like to
PhD
study
applicant.
physiology. I like to study
Yeah.
physiology.
So what part of physiology? What exactly do you
Guy,
like? What
do you know
exactly do you have
how
experience
tough
in doing?
that is? Like we could go into cardiac physiology and then you could say what part of cardiac physiology are you interested in? Like it could be
The whole
during
department,
electrical.
the whole of my department was cardiac.
Yeah, so like it's too big. Like it's too big. Like and
Yeah.
the narrower you get, the deeper it becomes. Like you can keep
Mhm.
going
So, for
deep.
example, if you, for example, if you're in the health, sector and you like, oh, you like to research cardiovascular diseases. Now, there are a lot of cardiovascular diseases, right? But you love to explore cardiovascular diseases or, find solutions to cardiovascular disease. Yeah, that's not too vague. And it's not, like,
Too
you're not
specific.
saying, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not saying heart failure or myocardial infarction because there are other people who are not working on myocardial infarction or heart failure, but are in the same department. So if the only professor that works on heart failure is not willing to take students, then
Mm-hmm.
you are out,
Yeah,
right?
I think
So
that flexibility in because I remember when I came here too, my interest was nutrigenomics. The person I thought was doing the nutrition, who was like an adjunct professor, at the time I found out she had left the university when I came. She was on my application, but then she had left the university. The other person that was on my application didn't have funding. So I ended up going to a lab that was working on muscle. But then they were still in epigenetics, but I was like, okay, I need to do something. For muscle, I did my next rotation in yeast, which was still related to epigenetics. And then I went to cancer. And but then they were all still doing very similar stuff in
and
molecular
stuff.
biology. But it was just different systems that I was working with. And like you said, not being rigid would help you. You know your interest. You know this is what you're interested in. Okay, I'm interested in immunology, but then you can now pick different things in it to now study. Or I'm interested in finance, or I can now pick different things in it to now study. That I think
Can't
that
be
would really
interested in
help you.
mechanical engineering and it's mechanical engineering. And you can be interested in thermodynamics
Yeah.
or but it can't be one specific if you are just
Mm-hmm.
applying. So you can say, oh, well, this is my interest, but I'm willing to explore, other areas that
Other
is
areas,
big in
yeah.
the department. So you look for what other people are doing and they are excelling in, and you're like, oh, I'm also, I'm willing to explore, this part, which I think would be an addition to, my knowledge of this. But this is what I think my research will be in. You might end up not, most people don't end up doing what is in the ISOP. In fact, I think maybe one day we should bring all like 20 graduate students. Come and
I'm
read your
serious.
SOP. Come and read
Yeah.
your SOP and what you are doing now.
I need to write that down somewhere. Like, yeah, like
Tell them, read your SOP and then tell us what you are doing now. So you'll understand that, yeah, even the selection
it's
committee
completely
knows that
different.
when you're saying all those things, oh, you want to find solution to cancer.
It's Bobo. Do
I've been
you
finding solutions to cancer for 20 years. No, they stop saying all these things. So
you are
sometimes
not
when I review SOPs, I have to tell if you're outside of the system, that things you will say, they will know you don't understand what you're saying. Like you don't understand what you're talking about.
I'm the one that will make the
There's a
word
difference between
change.
optimism and just blabbing, right? So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay
I
to be
I think
specific in your research,
that's
but
the
at the same
problem.
time,
That's the
be
problem I
willing
see
to
with the last
adjust.
paragraph of every essay I've read. At least so far now. That's always the problem I see with the last paragraph. It's like there's this, oh, it is me that will now come and solve Nigeria healthcare problem. Bro, who are you? Calm, be calming down. You're not solving this problem. You can contribute. And I think contribution
Exactly.
is what I like what people should use. Like I'm coming to play my own role in whatever minimal way you can play it. And that doesn't mean you are dreaming less. Sincerely, because I think that's what people say it as that, oh, maybe they are shooting themselves short. Shout out to my
People
mom.
that
My mom is
win,
in the chat section.
people that win Nobel prizes, they are not people. They don't. The last it was no, not the last one. I think 2022. The person that won the Nobel Prize in physiology and medicine
Medicine.
got to know, just discovered thermosensors, like
Yeah.
the
That's
receptors, thermoreceptors. That's
sorry,
like a little
I'm battling
part
with that
of
guy. Mm-hmm.
physiology of, but the person didn't solve the whole. Do you
Oh
understand?
yeah, nah.
I think the one before was some kind of genetic. I
Yeah,
think he's not even a
checkpoints.
physiologist, like an
Yeah,
archaeologist or something.
yeah. The guy was one that discovered. He was the first person to like complete the genome of the humans that had lived before. So
Something like
they call
that.
them, yeah,
So
paleontologist or whatever.
it's just, see, science is about science generally is about, do just little those little, and that's why research, what research, like, literature review is, for you. Everybody had as people that have been playing their parts, and then you can, combine the whole thing and then look for maybe a gap. We talk about gap in
Yeah,
knowledge.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
you come in and then fill a gap, and another person, just play your part of the puzzle. And yeah, so even people that do drug discovery and stuff, it takes a long
Hmm.
period of time. And many of the things that happen are a cascade of reactions, either in pure sciences, in engineering,
Oh,
even in things
definitely.
like psychology. To understand a strain of behavior or something, you need, a couple of years of research and
I think
rigor.
psychology is even tough because you are dealing with behavior which is very irregular. Like it's not standardized compared to like experiment, wet lab experiment that you can standardize. Psychological studies are not standardized most of the time. They're even more complex to deal with. But we're saying that to say, don't think you need to create one big dream at the end of your essays to be the best applicant. Sincerely, it could just be
You
as
need-
simple as stating your future and like your long term goal and putting that as, because for example I see people say, oh, I'm coming back to solve the healthcare problem. You've never even worked in the healthcare in Nigeria according to your CV. So are you coming back to solve the healthcare problem? So
but
just
but but but
keep it in
you
a very
can you can
realistic.
you can project
Hmm.
your idea as a solution. Like, you can say, okay, this is what I think I want to do.
Yeah,
If I'm able to do this, or when I'm able to do this, it will be of so much benefit in
in this
solving social
community. Yeah,
problem in the health sector.
yeah.
Just,
Yeah,
but
that
not like,
works.
oh, once I graduate like this, oh, it's over for them.
Thank you everyone that tuned in today. It's a really nice day. I think I enjoyed doing a lot of talking today because I think I had to take people through all the scholarship, just to show that there's a lot of scholarship you can apply for. There's a lot of grants, fellowships that you can get into, even if you don't have one naira. There are scholarships that can fund that initial stage for you and then make you qualify. For example, let's say uh you got like any of these Michael Taiwo or ISI, you can do your IELTS, use it to apply for Erasmus. So you can really build those cascade and put yourself in a good position to get a better life and become a better person. So thank you so much for tuning in today. It's my pleasure to have you all, and we'll see you guys tomorrow again. Guys, don't forget the 7 days we are going to be here. We are not going anywhere. This thing must enter our brain by force by fire. In Jesus' name, amen.